Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back to the Code Cracker. And today video we are diving into the important programming concept call by value versus call by reference. If you ever been confused about the function handle variables in different programming language, this video is for you. Let's get started with the call by values and call by reference. In this video, I will give you a full overview about the call by values and call by reference. Let's give a start to the introduction of this concept by what is called by values and what is called by reference in the C++ programming. So the intro is that the function in C++ can receive the argument in different ways. Basically, argument is type of parameter. Its argument is also known as parameters. I told you in previous lecture, a function is a function that have different parameters or have no parameters. I can have multiple parameters. This parameter is also known as arguments and function. In this line, it's saying that the function in C++ can receive arguments in different ways. Two primary methods to receive the argument is call by values and call by reference. Call by value and call by reference. These two methods that is used to be get the values by argument by using this method call by values and call by reference. Understanding the difference and the crucial for efficient programming. Understanding this both call by values and call by reference is provide the efficient programming and it enhance the efficient programming for us. So we also have to know get the knowledge about the call by values and call by reference in C++. Function in C++ can receive different arguments uh, in different ways. The two primary methods are call by values and call by reference. Let's give a start to call by value. What are the call by values? A copy of actual parameter is passed to the function. What if you read this line, you will able to understand what is this call by value. Basically, in function, we pass up parameters and parameters in call by value. The parameter get copied and it doesn't affect the previous variable that the variable in the main function. Uh, Call by value, when you pass a variable to a function using a call by value, a copy of variable is created. This means any change made inside the function does not affect the original variable outside the function is known as call by value. As you can see, the value and the change that happen in the function inside the function will not affect the original variables that is outside the function. This method is known as call by value method, used when modification to original values are not allowed and not needed. Basically, we use this method when we don't need to modify the previous variables outside with the variable that is outside the function. We do not need to modify that variables. That's why we use the call by value. It simply get modified the values that are inside the function, that are parameters that inside the function has effect, but outside the function it doesn't have effect. I think you have it make a harder to understand what is a call by value right now. So let's move toward the example. What is call by value? As you can see, the example this is a simple call by value code. I created this function that basically used to change the value. For example, we created the function with the name of change value, and this is the parameter argument that is integer that has integer type, and x is the variable name. And in this function, we are just changing the value x to the 20. And in this main function, we give the number n that is equal to 10. Now we know that 10 is holding num. Num is holding 10, and then we call the function that is change value. That basically the number 10 is passing through this variable, and when this variable is passed, now the value that it having is 10. When it moves inside the function, the value got changed and it changed to the 20. The 10 will get changed to the 20, and now x is having a 20 value. What you see in this line, the value of number is num. We printing this number that has doesn't if it does that didn't affect the that didn't affect the variable, but inside this function it has been changed. if I give you a visualization example, for example, now we know that the num is we considered num n with n that has a 10, that has a 10. When it move inside the function, then is holding a 10 10. When we move the function, we move inside the function, the 10 get changed to the 20. It get changed to the 20. It get changed to the 20. After that, the when we call this function, now we after calling this function, if we use the cout function inside the function, then it will print the 20 because the value that got changed inside the function, not outside the function. Just it giving a it's copying the value, and that's why. And if we use the cout value of num, it will print the 10. That's why, because it doesn't affect this variable, it doesn't affect the variable, and it doesn't affect the num variable, and so that's why it print the 10 on the screen. Whenever we use the call by value function, it doesn't affect the other variable that is outside the function, and it will remain unchanged, and it show the 10. When we use this, like if we use this cout command inside there, then it will print, then we call the function, then it will print the 20 on the screen. Let's me copy this code. After this after let me copy this code, and after copying this code, I will run it on the compiler, then you able to understand what I'm saying there. The function that I have copied. Okay, this is the whole code. Basically, what we are doing here, if I run this code, you will see that 10 will get printed on the screen. If I compile and run and just save it, tutorial 19, you can see that 10 is printing out, because but in this case, we change the value. But why it is printing 10? Because it doesn't affect this value that is inside the main function. Just it change the value that is inside the function. For example, if I use this cout command inside this function, like cout, and then simply I print the x here, and then I will compile and execute. Then I will comment this line. So simply I will comment this line. Then I'll compile and run. You can see the 20 will get printed. Because why? It's simply calling this function, and after the procedure has been complete of this function, it's just printing the 20 because the value got changed from num 10 to 20. But for inside the function, not for outside the function. The outside of this function, the value is always 10. And that is the example of call by value. So we'll comment out this whole code, because I'm just going to write the write call by reference code also here. Okay, this is a simple example of call by value. Now move toward the call by. Now this is the output, that value of 10, number 10 will be shown, because it doesn't affect this value. Let's move to there. Now the what is a pro and cons? What is the benefits and disadvantage of the call value functions? Ensure the data integrated has original variables remain unchanged. The pro is the benefit of this using call by value. It doesn't affect the um, original variables that was taken by on the main function, uh, and suitable for small size data. But if you are using a small size of types, we can it is suitable for that type of procedures. And the disadvantage is that it take the memory manager. It take a lot of memory, because we made making a copies of functions. We are making the copies of variables. For like in this function the num, but when we call this function in the change value, we use this num variable in this change value function. It made the copy of this variable, that is x, and the x will be get copied, and x values 20 will be changed, will get. That may it will copy the variables that increase the size of memory, and it's not efficient for large. If you're using a large structure object, it will affect the it will not be efficient, because it has consumed a lot of memory. Due to the consumption of memory, a lot of memory, it make it worst case. Now let's talk about the call by reference. What are the call by reference? Uh, the actual memory address of argument is passed. It is an this it is a alternative. What I say that it is a opposite of call by value. It is opposite of call by value. Instead of creating a copying of the function, get a reference to the original variables. This means that any change made inside the function will reflect outside the function. Basically, any change that is made in the function that also get reflected to the change outside the function in the main function. It will also affect the main function. That's why we use the call by reference. And we use the call by reference by using these types of operators. Reference by operators and our pointer. We can choose one of them, and we can also choose both of them also. And how it's work? Work by using the memory addresses of the variables that I already told you on the pointer section in the previous video. Go check it out. What is a pointer? Then you'll be able to understand the call by reference. This is a basic example of call by reference. Just simple has a 20. It's the same like previous code, but the difference is that if we pass this num variable that is 10 into this function that num, now we using this best sign that hold the address of this variable. In this form, the variable is num, so it is holding this address of this num variable, and just changing this address on that address, the value gets changed to the 20. On that address, the value get be changed and the is changed to the 20. For example, call by reference is that affect the uh, function that if we call by reference is if reference is a method that affect the outside the function also. If we're doing something that inside this function it's also affect the outside of the function from this where the function from that the value is getting fetched. For example, this is the main function that has num value. Then we are passing this variable inside the function as a parameter. Then it move toward this function, and on the behalf of this, we are saying that int x embraced a difference operator that basically holding the address. We use difference operator. I told you earlier to for holding the addresses, memory addresses. Now it's holding the memory address of this num variable because we pass this num variable inside the function and it's holding the address of num variable. Now it would make the changes in this address in this num variable address and change the 10 to the 20, and it will get changed, and 20 will get the change, and it will permanently change the num to the 20 because it changing making the changes in the memory addresses. um, if I give you example here, now we know the 10 is the num value, 10 is the num value, and x and it's for example it has address of 1, and now the this variable is taking the address x know the address of the 1, and on the behalf of this address 1, the values be getting changed to the 20, and now the updated value is 20 at this now updated value is 20 at this location, and so the value also get changed here. Num will value will get changes for the num also, so it will printed the 20 because it changed the it make changes in the memory addresses. It change the change it make the changes where the num variable is stored, and that's why it will print out the 20. For example, if I will copy this code and showing you the code, I will just paste the code here. I have this code, you can see there. IOStream using name speed. Now we know to change the value. If I run this code, it will not print the 10 because it will affect the memory address, and then the 20 will get changed in this num variable memory address, and the new updated value is 20. If I compile and execute, you will see that 20 will be get printed on this screen. There you can see that 20 will be get printed on this screen. Even if and that's why we use the call by reference that will affect the change outside. It brings the effect in outside of this function. That's why we use the call by reference. It will make the changes in the memory addresses. That's why. And the output will be value of num20. And the benefits and disadvantage of it is that it saves the memory. It doesn't make the copies of this variable. It will use the same variable, just make the changes in the memory addresses. And so it changing memory it change make the changes using the memory addresses, and allow the modifying the original variable. It's also have to modify the original variable directly. And disadvantage is that it may be unintended side of effect. It's not handled carefully. It is a little bit complicated to for using, and it will be little bit complicated to handle. That and pointer may cause some memory access error. It's also cause some memory access errors if you use it incorrectly. This is major difference between the call by values and call by reference. The usage of memory in call by values is more because it have made the copies of variables. That's why it has take more memory. And call by reference, it just modified the original variable, so the memory usage is less. Data safety. Data is safe because no modification is made just to make the copies of data. It data is not saved because we made the modification. A little bit a little mistake can cause a problem to the original variables. And performance, it's slower because it's making the copies of data and consuming a lot of memory that make it slower. And faster because it is not making the copies of data, just overriding the original variables. That's why it says faster. And syntax, pass variable directly. Winker pass can pass variable directly, but in call by reference we have to use the reference operator and pointer operator to target the memory addresses to make the changes using the memory addresses. Why we use which at what time? Use call by value when the function does not need to modify the original. We use the call by value when the function does not need to modify the original variables, working with the small types of data. But in call by reference, we create a function to modify the original values, and working with the large structures or objects. That's why we use the call by reference. This is the summary of call by values. Passes a copy and preserving the original data. Basically used to making the copies of a variable. It doesn't affect the outside the function of it doesn't affect the original values. But in call by values, it passes through the address and allow the modification to the original value. Choosing the right approach depends upon the performance. If we want to use, we can use the one of them if on the behalf of our requirement. If we are using the for the small type of data type, is we can use the call by value. We're using a large amount of data, we can use the call by reference. So difference between call by values and call by reference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and comment and subscribe for more programming tutorials. Let me know in the comments, and see you in the next video. Okay, Allah Hafiz.